In business, most see obstacles. Leaders see opportunity. When Andy Zapata entered the healthcare space, he didn't come to compete. He came to redefine the standard. As founder and CEO of Physical Therapy Now, he built more than locations. He built infrastructure. He built systems. He built access. Expansion didn't happen by chance. It was strategy, relentless execution. Vision backed by discipline. He saw the gap in the system and built the solution himself. This is not just growth. This is impact at scale. This is leadership in motion. This is Andy Zapata. Está with us.
Welcome to Empresarios en Ruta. Today we have a very special guest here with us. We're honored to have him. He's a visionary and has demonstrated that with effort, the American dream has no limits. Welcome to our show, Andy Zapata.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for being here. Today we're coming to share with our viewers many great things that tell us about a little bit about yourself. Where are you originally from?
Well, Erica, my parents came to the United States 47 years ago. I came at the age of 2. I was an immigrant from Colombia, Medellin, but I was raised in Miami. So I went to middle school, I went to high school, I went to FIU here in Miami, and I graduated as an occupational therapist. That was my first career back in 2004. After that, I launched my first practice, which was a physical therapy practice in Doral. It went really well. From the beginning, I did very well, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And so I started finding out and asking questions to other entrepreneurs, other people in the industry, and I started learning a lot. But unfortunately, nobody gave me all the secrets. And about 2-3 years later, I had known some of the secrets, not all of them, but I realized that the physical therapy business, a lot of people wanted physical therapy practices. So what I started doing, I started buying and selling physical therapy centers, and then I started building them, what they called de novo, startup from zero. And after that, I started selling those physical therapy practices. So between the years of 2006 and 2010, I sold about 40 practices. Those were my first 40 businesses that I sold. I was still in my 20s, so I became very profitable at a very young age. Lots of responsibilities. And, when Obama came, he put a moratorium on Medicare numbers in South Florida, which means that if I didn't get Medicare, I couldn't get Blue Cross, I couldn't get Cigna, I couldn't get AdMed, and I couldn't get the rest of the insurances. So basically our growth for selling practices was almost over. It wasn't until 2015 when the change of administration came in, and I decided, what am I going to do? What do I want? Well, the administration didn't change yet, but I said, what am I going to do? What do I know how to do? And then I said, well, I know how to build physical therapy centers. I know how to sell physical therapy centers. I know how to help them grow. And we decided to launch Physical Therapy Now in 2015. Our first franchise was sold in 2016 when I finished the paperwork with the attorneys. But that's how this whole thing got started. And the rest is history. Currently, we have 50 locations across the U.S. They're all very profitable. We're selling more physical therapy centers. Our physical therapy business, we focus on different industries. And we focus on like personal injury, which are car accidents and slip and falls. We focus on Medicare, Medicaid patients. We focus on workers' comp injuries. We focus on the Department of Labor, veterans, the VA. Focus on memberships and cash services. And we focus on like the Obamacares and the regular group insurances. And so we have a whole round business model that helps any doctor that wants to add physical therapy, any physical therapist that wants to open their physical therapy center from the beginning, or anybody who already has an existing business in physical therapy, but needs a team behind them. So we have credentialing teams, we have billing teams, we have marketing teams, everything needed to help you grow. And the best thing about us is that we own our own technology. So we're a technology and franchise company because we own the technology for the software that operates this. We own the data, and we can see the data at a different level than anybody else in the United States can see it. We actually own the data. So we can tell you what's the diagnosis most common in Florida, what's the diagnosis most common in Georgia. We can tell you all that information because we own the data. And so kind of like that's where we're at now. We're continuing to scale our software, continuing to scale our franchise model, continuing to help millions of patients that have been in all types of accidents, from workers' comp to personal injury to slip and falls and car accidents, or just simply people that have that need knee replacements or had back surgery. So that's how we started. That's where we're at now.
It is incredible. And to think how you shifted from one occupational therapist to become the mastermind that you are, what made you take that shift?
Early I realized that I can only help a few people. And I wanted to do something big, to be able to help millions of people. I saw a sign that said from McDonald's, something, we've sold 1 billion burgers. I said, I want to help 1 million people at least. And so I realized that as an occupational therapist or as a provider myself, I can only help certain people. But if I build a system that helps millions of people, that was my goal. We're very focused on eliminating pain and helping people live, without pain and back to their independence. And so how do we do that at a major scale? Only if you can help people and teach people and show people and mentor people to do what you know how to do, which is alleviate the pain and injuries that these patients have.
That's incredible. With so many roles that you have as a therapist, CEO, franchisor, and investor, how do you mentally handle all this pressure?
Well, I have incredible people like Eddie sitting right next to me. Eddie's one of the directors here for the franchise. But every location, I look up a lot to Elon Musk, and we realize how he does things. Elon Musk puts a CEO or a COO in every single company. He's actually the founder of these companies, but he holds them accountable. And holding people accountable is a trade you have to learn to be able to run these different companies. Like currently, we have about 35 different companies. Most of them are making multi-millions. However, it's hard to train somebody that's not ready. So you have to hold them accountable. You have to have a training system to help them become better CEOs, COOs, and entrepreneurs themselves. Because at the end of the day, they're running your company. So the key is finding the right people, mentoring them, teaching them, and holding them accountable so that they can do their job correctly and giving them the tools and the knowledge. Without that, you're going to be stuck doing everything yourself. And always, one of the things I mentor a lot is, listen, mistakes are going to happen. Issues are going to happen. Errors are going to happen. You have to be okay with that. And you have to know how to address that when it does happen. Because when somebody makes a mistake, you hold them accountable, but you re-educate them, you teach them. There's a point where maybe they're not learning enough. Maybe they're not capable of learning. And so you got to ask yourself, does this CEO or does this COO have the capacity to run the business? Because sometimes they pass the interview, but then they can't do that. They can't follow through on their duties and responsibilities. And at that point, you got to let them go or re-educate them. But it's your choice at that point. But that's the model of how you create companies that work for you instead of you working for the company itself. I would say I dedicate maybe 3 hours to each company, maybe 2 to 3 hours to each company, but I only meet with the CEO or the COO of each company once a week. We set the outline, we set the things to do, we set the milestones, they get it done, but they talk to their team. We don't. I at my level don't talk to the teams anymore. They're supposed to, and they're responsible for their teams.
You have definitely achieved a lot in all these years.
Thank you.
And the way that you work and you help others along the way says a lot about you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Where do you visualize your growth and achievements in the next 5 years?
We continue to help patients, which is our main thing. But we believe we can get to 300 locations within the next 3 years in the franchise model. And this is across the whole United States. Right now, we're mainly Florida and Texas. But the model is the same. People get injured in every single state. People from all demographics get injured, from the poorest neighborhoods to the richest neighborhoods. Everybody has back pain. Everybody's gonna need some type of therapy at one time of their life, whether they fall, whether they have a sports injury, whether they're just elderly and they have back pain or neck pain. But at one time in your life, you're gonna need physical therapy. Our goal is to be in every city, in every major city, and be in every demographic and be able to serve any population, whether you have insurance or you have Medicare, or you have Medicaid, or public funding or private funding. We want to be there to help you, and that's our goal. 300 locations in 3 years.
That's what you mean when you say the neighborhood clinic.
We want to be your neighborhood clinic. That's right.
That is amazing. And you take all types of insurances.
Yeah, we've I mean we're doing this for 23 years, so we're in network with every single insurance. So anybody that comes in, whether it's managed care or private care, private insurance, we're able to see you.
What other services do you offer besides physical therapy?
Well, I'll let Eddie Eddie. What other services do we offer there?
Well, we offered MRI. We offered pain management, orthopedic surgery or treatment, and we try to be in every neighborhood around our areas.
Obviously, the main one is physical therapy, occupational therapy. We have chiropractic services as well. That's the most common one. Aside from that, we have the, like Eddie said, the MRI, the orthopedic. We have home health company that goes to the patient's home as well, and so we have a full combined
You're a
array.
one-stop shop
Almost,
for the patient's needs.
almost.
That's
We
very
don't fix
convenient.
cars. We don't fix cars.
But in the medical field, that's what you okay. Why do you think that most patients here in South Florida prefer PT Now rather than any other clinic? What makes you stand out from the rest within your services?
We one of the things that we are proud to do or be there is be consistent with our services. We try to schedule the patients the same day, if not possible, the next day. But we try to do it as quickly as possible. Time is of the essence when you're treating patients that have been in an accident or personal injury. But if it's a patient that a regular patient, a post-op or anything like that, the orthopedic surgeon typically requests that we do the therapies as quickly as possible. So one of the things that we pride ourselves is in the delivery of the service as fast as possible, and also in the case of personal injury, we also help at the end with the billing. You know, having to reduce the bill sometimes because of different
Situation.
situations. Yeah,
That is very important for attorneys.
of course.
If you had attorneys right now viewing this show and are watching you, some attorneys that you already know, some may be new, what message would you give them?
Yeah, look, we're in every single 3 miles. So every 3 miles in Dade County, we are, and in Broward, we're every 5 miles. In Palm Beach, it's about every 10 miles. Orlando, we have 5 centers now, two that are in development, three that are existing. We're in Tampa. So we're pretty much spread across the entire state of Florida. The system is consistent. The treatment is consistent. Reductions and billing is consistent. It's, again, would you rather deal with 50 different locations, or would you rather deal with one guy that's in charge of 50 locations? And that's the model. We understand personal injury very well. We've been doing it from the beginning, which is the chiro, physical therapy, all the way to the MRI, orthopedic, pain management. So we understand the components very well. We know how to build a case, which is very important for the attorneys, and most important, we know how to document. So it's not the same thing as going to a regular physical therapy center that doesn't understand personal injury or how to document. And at the end of the day, when you need to do a depo, our physical therapists, our doctors are not scared of going to depositions because we know how to back up our treatment. And that's the most important thing for an attorney to understand.
That is.
Yeah.
Especially here in South Florida.
Yep. Yep.
So what would you, if there's visionaries watching us right now, young people like you that were with that vision once upon a time, what advice would you give them if they feel stuck and they don't know how to make it?
Well, that's a great question, actually, because I just wrote a book on this called The Standard. And The Standard talks about, I grew up in a very humble beginning, let's call it that, in a trailer park, single parents, single mother, two families living in a one-bedroom apartment in the trailer park where it's full of crime, uh, hardships, poverty, and low standards. So for a visionary, number one, have big dreams. Have dreams that scare you. If you think that they are possible, they are too small. So dream of the impossible. If you land in the possible, then you just did it. Just landed in a good area. Number one. So have a big dream. If you don't have dreams, there is no start. So the first step is dream big. Second step is have the highest standards possible. And those standards that you're surrounded by are not typically, they become your standards because they're the people you hang around with, they become your standard. But look at people that are successful. Look at people how they behave. Look at people, how they behave when the camera's not on. Those are unhidden standards that you can learn. How to be on time, how to have your office clean, how to speak to people, learn how to speak efficiently, go to events, never stop learning. Again, look at other standards like how people get to the meeting on time, how they represent in meetings. All these standards are important for you to learn because that's what you tolerate. So what you tolerate is the minimum of your growth. From the bottom, that's what you tolerate. These are your standards. And if you don't have enough standards, if you don't have standards for being on time, for being clean, for being respectful to others, if you don't have that standard, you're never going to be successful. So I always relate it. You have to have good standards. You have to have a goal, which is a vision, and then you have to have the habits. Habits are things that are going to get you to your standards. Things that, for example, are going to get you to your goals. So without the habits, without the standard, and without the vision, you have an imaginary goal. It's never going to happen. And there's people that on discipline alone, they get very far, but then things crumble. Those are the people that you say, wow, this guy made so much money, and all of a sudden, everything fell apart for them. Why? Because their standards were not at par. They got there on grit. They got there because they figured out how to sell something, but their standards were so low that everything crumbled. They didn't know how to manage money. They didn't respect money. They didn't respect others. They tolerated too much alcohol, too much drugs. So whatever you tolerate, again, that's your bottom standard. So I'll recommend to a younger me, focus on your standards, learn other standards, copy other standards, borrow standards from other people, and be careful who you're going around with because those become your standards.
That's excellent advice.
And be organized.
What is the name of that book that you were?
The Standard.
The Standard. And when is it going to come out?
I think by February we should have it live on Audible, and we should have it in the bookstore on Amazon.
We'll definitely be looking forward to it.
Thank you.
So if anyone wants to reach out to you regarding the franchise or PT Now, more information, where's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, look at the website, physicaltherapynow.com. There's a franchise tab. At that point, fill out the form, send it to us right away. We'll have Eddie give you a call.
Next day.
Eddie's been with us, for a very long time. He's the one that qualifies you as a potential franchisee. And we do look for certain things as a franchisee. We look, do you have any business experience? Are you sociable? Are you professional? Do you have leadership experience? Do you have entrepreneurship experience? Do you have any HR experience? Are you a provider yourself? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. None of this really qualifies, but everything qualifies as a general. So if we feel that this is going to be something that you could possibly be successful in, we'll give you the opportunity and award you the franchise. Currently, our franchise is $47,000, financeable, of course. And if you need a loan, we can get you an SBA loan, assuming you qualify. Most people, believe it or not, qualify for an SBA loan, especially if you're a provider, a therapist, a doctor. So we'll walk you through all that steps. Eddie will sit down with you and tell you everything on how to qualify. And if you're a good fit and we believe you're going to be successful, we will award you the franchise.
Well, I'm glad that you've been here educating the community. There's so many things. You don't only give us the vision, you give us the help, and you walk us through the whole process. So thank you again. It's been a pleasure to have you here in Empresarios en Ruta. And until the next time, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Este segmento está patrocinado por Accident Pain Solution, patrocinador oficial de Empresarios en Ruta.
¿Has sufrido un accidente? El dolor, la confusión, puede ser abrumador, pero quiero que sepas que no estás solo. En Accident Pain Solutions, entendemos tu lucha y estamos aquí para acompañarte paso a paso, desde el primer día. Imagina tener un equipo de expertos a tu lado, médicos, terapeutas y abogados, todos unidos con un solo objetivo: tu bienestar. Nosotros nos encargamos de todo el proceso legal y de tu recuperación, para que tú solo te concentres en sanar. Te guiaremos en cada paso, desde el caos inicial hasta el día que recibas la compensación que mereces y recuperes tu vida. No dejes que un accidente defina tu futuro. Llámanos ahora. Es una línea directa con Erika Carrillo, la persona que te ayudará con todos tus problemas después del accidente. Accident Pain Solutions. Trabajamos para ti.
Este segmento está patrocinado por Physical Therapy Now. PT Now, patrocinador oficial de Empresarios en Ruta.
Are you suffering from neck, joint, or back pain? Have you been told that you should have surgery? If so, pick up the phone and give Physical Therapy Now a call. Our board-certified therapists specialize in non-surgical solutions for neck, joint, or back pain. Thousands have avoided surgery, addicted medication, and have gone back to active and pain-free lives. So if you've had enough with living in pain, call Physical Therapy Now and schedule your personal consultation. We have convenient locations near you.
Andy, we would like to know the story, the famous story of the $10,000 that changed your whole life.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was 24 years old, 23, 24. And, I had an entrepreneur spirit. I wanted to do something bigger. I had gone to FIU. I had graduated from FIU as an occupational therapist. And I asked my mom, hey, Mom, I want to open a business. And she says, I have no money. I says, I know. But I got home and there was an envelope that said Capital One, $10,000 pre-approved. And I said, Mom, this is me being ignorant at the age of 23. I said, Mom, you have $10,000 right here. This says $10,000. And she says to me, Andy, that's advertisement. That's not real money. I said, no, but it says pre-approved. That means you've been approved. And she says, Andy, I get those all the time. That's fake. I said, Mom, can you just fill it out? She says, no. Well, I didn't give up. I kept asking my mom for weeks. Eventually, she says, if I sign this, will you leave me alone? I said, if you sign it, I promise you I'll leave you alone. And she said, and if you lose the money, you got to pay me back. At that point, I said, okay, if I'm going to start working, I just passed my university. I did everything my mom wanted me to do. I told her, if I lose your money, I'll pay you back. So she gave me $10,000. This is how this whole empire was built. I went to my buddy that we went to college together and I said, hey, I just got $10,000. He says, how did you do it? I said, Capital One, right here. And all of a sudden, I said, why don't you apply for your mom? So his mom, then a few weeks later, got $10,000. So in total, we started the business with $20,000. And then we started asking people, hey, where can I rent a spot? I finally got a little spot for $800 a month. I didn't have to give first, last, or deposit, so it was really $800 a month. It was one of my uncles that owned a little small shopping center, and he gave me an opportunity. So everything aligned perfectly.
You were already an occupational therapist. You were just getting out of school.
I was not. I had just graduated. I had not taken my boards, but I had already a business. I had already get my tax ID. I had already opened I didn't even know if I was going to get licensed, but I had already opened the business. This is like when they say, hey, you're going to burn the ships down when you go to war. This is the famous saying that there's only one way, and that's the way forward. There's no other way. But I never for a split second doubted that I was not going to make it. I never for a split second doubted that I was going to have to pay this money back because I lost it. It was like something in me that said, I'm going to make this happen, whether I win or I lose. Like, this is happening. Whether I die trying, I'm going to make this business grow. And we got used equipment. We got used chairs, used tables, used desks, used pens. Everything was used. And I think we spent like $1,000 buying everything used at a warehouse that was old equipment, and they gave everything to us for like $1,000. So I still had $19,000. And I started building the business. I painted everything. I painted the office. And then I got all the licenses, credentials, and I started asking people. And that's how we started. A few months later, we made our first $1,000. And I remember doing the break dancing and the worm on the floor when I first got my first $1,000. And after that, everything was mindset and growth, systems, operations, strategies on growth. But more importantly, I never stopped asking questions. I never stopped asking people for help because I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know how to do billing. I didn't know how to do credentialing. I lost a lot of money at the beginning. And this is why I built Physical Therapy Now. because it took me 13 years to really learn everything. When you can learn this in 3 months now with the manuals and the operations and the systems that we've implemented, anybody can learn how to build a physical therapy business now because of all the hardships that I had. I'm helping people avoid those challenges, giving everything to you in one system. And that's how physical therapy now was born, because I don't want people to suffer for 13 years trying to figure this out. Now you have me. Back then, we didn't have the internet and the smartphones and Instagram and all these mentorship programs, but nonetheless, we figured it out, and now we have physical therapy.
Amazing story.
Thank you.
Very motivational.
Thank you so
For
much.
all of us entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah, everything is possible. Stay focused, stay alert, stay determined. Don't give up. Don't switch. This is one of the things that made me very successful. I never switched. I stayed the route for now. It's been 25 years. But people think that business is going to come fast and you're going to make $1 million in 3 months. No, it takes years.
It's the consistency.
It's the consistency. Don't give up. Let's say you want to do something else. Fine, do something else, but don't stop what you're doing here. You want to add another project? That's fine. Add another project, but don't stop working on this one. And don't stop giving it the attention it needs. I worked in this industry for maybe 10, 12 hours a day for the first 15, 16 years. Now is when I'm taking time off and going on multiple vacations, but I've been doing this for 25 years. So I've built a team, I've built the executives, I've built the directors that they can now handle the business. And so now I work on the business instead of working in the business. That famous
That's very
saying.
smart.
Yeah. But that's
with the right people around you.
And with the right people. Yeah. Yeah. And that's how this whole thing got started. So if anybody's interested in learning more about how to build a franchise, how to grow your franchise, give me a call. We'll have our team, our executives give you a call and see if you're the right fit for us.
And again, what's your website? So they can...
Physicaltherapynow.com.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Este segmento está patrocinado por Accident Pain Solution, patrocinador oficial de Empresarios en Ruta. Este segmento está patrocinado por Physical Therapy Now, PT Now, patrocinador oficial de Empresarios en Ruta.
Are you suffering from neck, joint, or back pain? Have you been told that you should have surgery? If so, pick up the phone and give Physical Therapy Now a call. Our board-certified therapists specialize in non-surgical solutions for neck, joint, or back pain. Thousands have avoided surgery, addicted medication, and have gone back to active and pain-free lives. So if you've had enough with living in pain, call Physical Therapy Now and schedule your personal consultation. We have convenient locations near you.
Andy, quisiera que nos explicara un poquito para nuestra comunidad hispana, si estuvieran interesados en una franquicia, ¿con quién deberían de comunicarse? Cuéntenos un poquito sobre el tema para que nos eduque un poco, por favor.
Mira, nosotros tenemos una compañía que se llama Physical Therapy Now. Es una franquicia. En este momento tenemos 50 locales a través de todos los Estados Unidos. Pero ¿qué es una franquicia de Physical Therapy Now? Es donde ayudamos a la gente, los pacientes, a recuperar de dolor. Dolor de espalda, dolor de rodilla, dolor de cuello, cirugías que hayan tenido, reemplazo de coyuntura, accidente de carro, accidentes laborales. Nosotros ayudamos a toda esa población a recuperarse de su salud. Entonces, lo mejor de Physical Therapy Now es que en cualquier pueblo, en cualquier esquina del mundo, hay gente que tiene dolor. Y nosotros queremos estar ahí para ayudar a esa gente a recuperar de ese dolor. Ahora, ¿cómo es el negocio? El negocio es para los empresarios que quieren ser empresarios o ya tienen una empresa, doctores que a lo mejor quieren abrir una oficina, quiroprácticos, más que todo fisioterapeutas, masajistas que quieren abrir su empresa y no saben el sistema todavía. Hay mucha gente que se gradúa como doctores o terapeutas, pero no saben suficiente de abrir el negocio. Nosotros estamos aquí para ayudarles a abrir el negocio y también apoyarlos en el crecimiento cuando ya tenga la segunda y la tercera local. La franquicia es a través de todos los Estados Unidos y es para cualquier empresario, cualquier persona que quiera abrir una compañía en lo que se llama la rehabilitación. Si quieren más información, llámanos al 305-570-1666. Pregunten por Andy Zapata o Eddie Blanco. O si quieren leer más información, la página es physicaltherapynow.com. Obviamente nosotros somos hispanos, estamos aquí para ayudarle. También eso se presta mucho para los inversionistas que quieran entrar a los Estados Unidos y quieran entrar con un capital y abrir un negocio. Hemos hecho eso muchas veces y también la gente que cree, bueno, no, eso no es para mí, no tengo suficiente dinero. Les tengo buena noticia. El gobierno federal tiene un programa que se llama el Small Business Administration, donde ellos prestan dinero a compañías que ya estén validadas. Nosotros ya estamos validados por el departamento de SBA de los Estados Unidos. Si usted califica, nosotros le podemos conseguir un préstamo donde ustedes a lo mejor puedan abrir un centro de esos de rehabilitación. Y, cuando nos llame le damos mucha más información, pero básicamente nos dejo con este recado. La terapia, todo el mundo va a necesitarla, aunque sufras un accidente de carro, accidente laboral, resbalón o caída, pero en algún momento alguien va a tener ese dolor y nosotros estamos ahí en tu barrio para ayudar. Gracias y espero que escuchar de ustedes.
Y lo más importante, que ayudan en el proceso desde el inicio hasta el final.
Te ayudamos desde el inicio hasta el final de cómo abrir tu centro, cómo operar tu centro, cómo manejar tu centro. Estamos aquí desde un contrato de 10 años contigo para ayudarte y apoyarte al crecimiento.
Gracias.
Es bueno tenernos en experiencia. Tenernos en experiencia es bueno.
No,
Con
porque
tal
si
de
es
que
tan
califique-
English que
Con tal de que califique para lo otro, tiene que calificar, tiene que tener algún tipo de calificación, un poquito de emprendimiento, una buena personalidad. Si alguien me viene aquí, no le voy a vender una franquicia. Si no sabe hablar, no sabe comunicar, le da miedo, le da temor, es mucho, mucho que tengo que conquistar dentro de su cabeza para que ellos sean exitosos. Tienen que tener la personalidad, más que todo para mí, personalidad.
Cuando Erika me habló del tema, yo tengo un amigo que es fisioterapeuta de Cuba y él llegó acá y hizo sus estudios y ya sacó su licencia y lo tiene todo en regla. También pasó curso también pasó curso de enfermero.
Oh, wow.
Y lo acaba de terminar ahora en diciembre, apenas creo que terminó el curso de enfermero. Hizo parte acá y parte en Puerto Rico. Entonces, yo casualmente me llamó el otro día y me dijo, Hamble, ¿no sabe algo, algún negocio de terapia, de algo? Pues estoy buscando un trabajo en donde sea, pues, tú sabes, tengo que empezar a pagar la carrera. Yo le dije, bueno, una amiga mía me habló de alguien que estaba vendiendo una franquicia de fisioterapia, pero tengo que empaparme bien cómo es. Yo tengo la entrevista, esto fue hace 2 semanas. Tengo la entrevista, estos días yo te llamo.
Dános el número y se lo diremos a ellos.
No, yo voy a hablar con él, porque ya más o menos carté, ¿ya me entiendes? Y lo voy a decir.
Eri lo pone en el sistema, Eri le explica todo, lo califica,
Yeah. ¿En qué área es? ¿Y you guys continúan por aquí? ¿No importa el área o son un área específica?
Protegemos 3 millas.
Sí, tiene restricciones de 3 millas entre una clínica y la otra, porque tiene que tener esa ventaja, ¿no? De que puedan hacer su negocio.
Pero mami, tú sabes cómo es esto. Vamos a ir a bailar esta noche.
Claro, vamos a ir a disfrutar.
Bueno, vieja, tú sabes que vamos a ir allá. ¿Sabes cómo es esto?
Sí, no, tranquilo, que vamos. Acuérdate del viaje que tenemos que irnos.
Claro,
bueno.
Ir allá.
Ay, qué rico, mi amor. Ay, qué bueno, lo vamos a pasar.
¿Sufriste un accidente por la negligencia de otra persona? ¿No sabes qué hacer? Llámanos a Accident Pain Solution. Deja que nuestros 25 años de experiencia te asesoren en toda área de tu necesidad. Después de un accidente, desde la escena, puedes contactarnos. Mi nombre es Erika Carrillo, de Accident Pain, y estamos aquí asesorándote en toda área, legalmente y médicamente, con los mejores abogados en el sur de la Florida, y también estamos disponibles las 24 horas al día. Desde la escena hasta el final de tu posible caso, te asesoramos paso a paso.